Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. We have had a lot of snow, like most part of the country, and recently the temperature has warmed up, the snow has melted, and now the river is in flood stage. This video is in response to a viewer's question. He wrote me recently and he asked me what is the best rice for fried rice. And he said, can you make a video talk about your favorite rice for fried rice? Now, it is difficult for me to actually provide a clear-cut answer because I have had fried rice with different kinds of rice, and each one of them has their unique characteristics. First of all, let me tell you the 3 different types of rice that I'm most familiar with. For example, there's a rice which is a short grain rice. It is frequently referred to as sushi rice, and this rice is used mainly in Japanese cooking and also for making sushi. Another rice that I have a lot of experience with is a long grain rice, and is frequently referred to as a jasmine rice. This rice has a relatively long grain and come out from Thailand. And then there's another rice which is known as basmati rice. Now, the basmati rice mainly come from India and Pakistan. It is grown in the Himalayas highland. It is a rice that have a very, very long grain. Now, when it comes to different kind of rice, each one have their unique characteristics. And quite obviously, some rice is better for making fried rice than the other type of rice. Sushi rice tend to be not as good because they tend to be sticky. The jasmine rice is the rice that I use most often, and it's the rice that used in many restaurants. They are long grain rice. In Chinese restaurants, when you have rice there, usually it's the jasmine rice type. Now, when you go to eat Indian food, and you will find that their rice is quite different, and their rice tend to have very long grain, and they use this type of rice known as basmati rice. Now today, you can buy almost any type of rice. They are available in many Asian grocery stores. As you can see here, there are quite a few selections of rice that you can choose from. Some of them are whole grain rice, and some of them are wild rice, and some of them have brown color, and some have a dark color. For example, there's a rice known as a black rice. And it is probably the best time for home cook, as my friend said to me. He said, there are no time. There are so many ingredients are so readily available. You can go to many different type of ethnic grocery or supermarkets, but you can always purchase them from online as well. Now, the basmati rice that I use is a basmati rice known as the royal basmati rice. It's a very interesting rice because it comes in a nice sack, and this is a type of packaging. You don't see it very often anymore. And this rice comes in a 20-pound bag. Now, the rice has a very distinct characteristics. As you can see here, the rice has very long grain. They're much longer than the sushi rice. Sushi rice is almost circular or almost round, whereas the jasmine rice is long grain, but compared to the basmati rice exceed that. Now, when you cook the basmati rice, this is what you will get. It is a very interesting texture. One thing about the basmati rice is that they are very dry. They do not absorb a lot of moisture. In contrast, when you think about sushi rice, they tend to be rather wet, and sometimes they tend to be sticky, and sometimes people call it sticky rice, although there are type of rice which specifically referred to as sticky rice. Now, as you can see here, the rice is very fluffy, and it has a very different culinary experience. So each time when you have different rice, you will find that they taste quite different. So if you have never tried basmati rice, you can give it a try, and now you can buy it in most supermarket in small package. So you can just try it, see whether you like it or not. You don't need to buy a 20-pound bag as I have done. I ate basmati rice quite a bit. I usually mix them with the jasmine rice, or I should say I alternate with the jasmine rice, and I enjoy both of them. But when it comes to making fried rice, I must have to say is that the basmati rice probably make the best fried rice. because the basmati rice are relatively dry and they tend to have rice kernels that can easily separate it from each other. Okay, so let's go into the kitchen. I'm going to show you how to make a basmati fried rice, and in this case you will be able to see the different characteristics that are represented by the basmati fried rice. I'm going to cook this dish first by seasoning the wok using my spot seasoning method with my Cucina 14-inch stainless steel wok. And with this method, I was able to create a non-stick cook surface. The first step in cooking this fried rice is to fry some egg. I'm going to fry about 5 eggs, and because I'm going to make a fairly large portion of fried rice, and the egg will be a good source of protein when I use the fried rice as my main dish. The first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to scramble the egg. Now there are many different ways that you can add egg to a fried rice, and in some way you cook the egg together with the rice, but in this case I'm going to cook the egg in advance. And the reason I do that is that this will allow the egg to form larger pieces, so they are more distinctive when you eat the rice. You can actually taste the egg. In some other type of approach, the egg will be blended into the rice and you actually cannot taste the egg at all. So I'm going to cook this rice with about 2.5 cups of this basmati rice. Now, like any other rice, it is important you store the rice in the refrigerator for about maybe 24 or 48 hours. The rice has actually pretty good shelf life, and they last for about a week to 10 days. And the next ingredients I'm going to put in is some frozen corn. Now again, fried rice is one of those catch-all dish. You can put almost anything you want. I like the frozen corn because they provide a sweet flavor. And this is followed by, actually, these are the stems and leaves of cauliflower. So after I took off the floret from the cauliflower, I cut up the stems and the leaves, and they actually turn out to be excellent to use in a fried rice. This way, it will allow you to make use of the entire cauliflower. A lot of time, people just take the floret and they discard the stem and the leaves. Now, what I'm suggesting to you is that don't. If you chop it up, they will make excellent fried rice. They will give the rice a very nice flavor as well as texture. Now, with this rice, the next ingredients I'm going to add is some shrimp. Now, I love shrimp and I really enjoy shrimp in a fried rice. These shrimp are actually a large shrimp, and I cut them up into small pieces. And the reason is that this will allow the shrimp cook better in the fried rice, and it also reduces the amount of time to cook the shrimp. I coat the shrimp with a thin layer of cornstarch, and this will give the shrimp a nice smooth texture, which I really enjoy. And of course, instead of shrimp, you can use any type of protein that you want. The key is that make sure those proteins will be cooked properly and it will be cooked to the doneness. For example, if you're going to use chicken, in addition to cut it up into small pieces, probably it's a good idea to stir fry the chicken in advance. And then this is followed by adding some frozen peas. Now, fried rice is truly a catch-all dish, and this is probably the reason why fried rice is so popular in not just in China, but in many parts of the world. In the United States, the fried rice is probably the #1 dish in Chinese restaurants. Now, I use a 14-inch wok. As you can see here, the wok is almost 3/4 full. And this is a large portion of fried rice. The important thing is that you make sure you stir the fried rice readily. Next, I'm going to season the fried rice with some of my wok with tak basic seasoning mix. This seasoning mix is designed to enhance the umami flavor of the food ingredients. Now, this fried rice already have great flavor with all the ingredients that I have put in there. Therefore, I want to season it very lightly. To add saltiness to the dish, I'm going to season the dish with some soy sauce. There are many different ways to season your fried rice. One way that I really like as well is to season it with oyster sauce. So as you can see, cooking this fried rice using the basmati rice is no different from using any other type of rice. And this is the advantage of tempeh-based cooking. With tempeh-based cooking, you don't need a recipe, and you can make substitution accordingly based on what you have on hand. This is also true based on what you prefer. Like in this case, I add the shrimp because I really like shrimp in a fried rice. On the other hand, you can also use leftovers to make fried rice. For example, at one time after Thanksgiving, I make a turkey fried rice from the turkey left over from a Thanksgiving meal. Okay, this fried rice tastes wonderful, and I really like the basmati rice in this fried rice. So if you never have tried it, give it a go. I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routines. And if you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.